Good afternoon. It is the OmniDog and OmniCat live comic book review show where we review comic books that we've read. I am OmniDog and this is OmniCat.
Hey, you did it right.
I did, and so did you.
That's impressive.
I know, we nailed it. Way to go. I just do the opposite. I'm like George
Yeah.
Costanza. I just do the opposite, and that's how it works, right? Boing. Um, so we have, of course, OmniCat is with me today. I am OmniDog, and we like to share with the group, the crowd, what we've read, and we love comic books. That's one thing that we have in common. We read different genres, but we have in common that we love comic books. We love everything about them. We feel like it's a medium where you can do just about anything with them. You can explore different ways of putting down ideas on paper. Do you agree with that, Kristen?
Oh, 1000%. Though I think often we read similar genres, I will say.
Yeah, we're
Until
not
I'm like,
really.
hey, here's a manga.
Well, I do have I still have a week to go. Well, not a week to go, but I still have a few days to go on my scary book review
Mm.
that I need to do. I I made the mistake of putting part one, so I need to come up with part two now on my scary book read. And on there is Shiver by Ito. So there's a manga that I'm going to read.
You're gonna
Um,
enjoy it. It's gonna make you want to vomit at the end. It's great. It's the best.
I think that's his signature,
Yes.
Ito, is that he makes you want to throw up.
Yeah, of course.
Um, and there's Cycle Cleveland. I haven't seen him in a long
Oh
time.
wow. Infamous.
And there's Kajetil and Joe Cool, Jesse Say What, always first in the chat. Chris M, pulling up the old wish list. I don't know who this person is, Chris M. Do you think Baby Billy Freeman reads comics? Do you know who that is?
I have no idea.
I don't know who Baby Billy Freeman is, Chris M. I'm not culturally with it, unless it's a political reference, uh, and I'm way out of it politically. I
I'm
don't
way
even
in
read.
it because of my job,
Oh yeah, and your
but I
job,
don't recognize that.
you what?
I don't recognize the name though. Yeah, my job is like constant news. So
That's too bad.
Mhm.
Unless you're into it,
It is too bad.
I have to avoid politics to hang on to my sobriety because politics.
Yeah,
I decided in the very first few days of my sobriety that kept if I paid attention to politics, it would make me get drunk because it makes me so angry,
I
and
get that.
and anger is what's would lead me to drink. Oh, Baby Billy on the Righteous Gemstones. Oh, I've heard of that show, but I haven't watched that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
It's a Gemstones reference. Okay, I just haven't seen that, but I've heard about it, and I just read so many comics. I don't get the chance to watch too much TV.
It's
Um,
it's for the best right now. I mean, I feel like I'm rolling my eyes half the time. I like
at
to be
TV?
informed at the news.
Oh, at the news, yeah.
Yeah, I like to be informed, but it's a lot. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, I'm okay with just reading the comics and the sports section. That's all I do. That's all I pay
Mm.
attention to. And so when my wife said, I don't know, did you know it's supposed to rain like 3 inches tomorrow? I'm like, what? It is? Are we in trouble? Is that a tornado or something? And she's like, no, it's just supposed to be severe weather. I'm like, okay. So she's in charge of
Yeah,
like telling me all the important news stuff.
it's been raining here all night.
Oh, has it?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wish that I wish we could show the chat, our chat, yours and my chat, because we come up with.
That's
I
true.
think we come up with the funniest stuff of just um, our just these imaginary scenarios. Like we came up. Wait, where's my phone? We came up with a
The fake
oh
metal
wait,
band.
it's the fake. What was it? Brutal mouse murder.
Brutal mouse murder, which derived from you. Someone left a comment on our last video asking if Mouse Guard was child appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you asked me, and I was like, well, I think so, but let me double check because there could be some brutal mouse murder I forgot about. And you were like, that's a great band name. And then we went too far with it, of course.
We
kept
created,
going on and on and on.
We just created the metal band Brutal Mouse Murder, and you were spraying the audience with root beer, and you slipped on it, and that was the death of Brutal Mouse Murder, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. And before that, we had your pancreas and my appendix fight.
Oh yeah.
In a fictional world, not fight. They were fighting like together. They were fighting us. That's what it was.
They were fighting us because your appendix exploded and my pancreas got inflamed, and they were duking it out. Your pancreas. I mean, your appendix just exploded, and you were in the hospital for 2 weeks or something when you were 12.
Like a month. Yeah.
A month. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Man, our body. I
could have died.
Yeah, you could have.
And you could have died. So we all could have died, and we're here, and it's awesome.
We all could have died. Oh man, that. You'd be on stage wearing Mickey Mouse ears, playing for Brutal Mouse Murder. 60-year-old man taken to hospital after breaking leg and went in mosh pit for 10 seconds. Brutal Mouse Murder. That's awesome. And then our bodies tried to kill us in our first epic battle.
Yeah, but that story ended nicely because my appendix just exploded everywhere, and you hugged your pancreas. You and your pancreas hugged, so it's great. Like it's not bothering you.
Well, yeah, it's still affecting me because it's still in pain. I see the pancreas doctor on Thursday, and hopefully he's going to tell me what's going on. I have the feeling that he's going to want to knock me out and scope my insides, and I'm going to say, dude, they already did that in the hospital. And he's going to say, no, I want to do it for myself. And I'm like,
it's no fun.
I know. I'm totally used to it. I'm used to everything happening to me now. Speaking of great comics, though.
Yeah.
Smotlock says his best friend had pancreatitis, too. He says it's really painful. Yeah, dude. It is way painful. Barnacle Blake, did Jacob's Ladder remind you of Batman Damned at all? I saw your comment. We reviewed my horror movie. Partner and I reviewed Jacob's Ladder this morning, and Barnacle Blake said Jacob's Ladder equaled Batman Damned. I wasn't putting that together, Barnacle. Because Jacob's Ladder seemed like it was like a cohesive movie. It did jump around a lot. Batman Damned jumped around a lot too, but I don't know that I felt like it had a cohesive plot to it. But so if you have, maybe you can elaborate more, Barnacle, on how you felt like they were the same. I felt like Jacob's Ladder actually was trying to go somewhere, whereas Batman Damned, I don't know where it was trying to go.
It was trying to go under the root beer.
Yeah, right. So what book would you like to start off with?
Let's start off with something light, shall we? I'm going to go light and then progressively deeper.
Okay. So you got a plan.
That's right. I have a plan. So I'm going to start off with the Avant-Guards.
What a great name.
This is volume 1. It is about an all-girls basketball team. They're in college. So it's a new Boom series. If you know anything about me, I don't like sports at all, but I love sports comics. And this was fabulous. It's the writer behind Heavy Vinyl, which I think we both loved.
Yeah, we did both like it.
Carly, I forget her last name, but she's awesome. and it's a new Boom series, like I said. It's about a transfer student named Charlie who thought she kind of left basketball behind until she transferred to this college, and this barely together basketball team of girls tries to recruit her. So the captain, she's like very enthusiastic, really wants to have her team, but like there aren't enough of them, so she really needs another person. And this new girl Charlie's really good at basketball, but she kind of quit for like various reasons. And so the first few issues are her trying to like recruit her and then get together kind of this ragtag team. And before this volume ends, you get to see them play their first game, and maybe there's a budding romance, and it's
amongst teammates.
Amongst teammates. So it's just some good fun, and I love this color work. I love the art. It's kind of classic Boom series. That's how I see it at this point, because so many like it's just good, clean line work and stuff. But now that Giant Days is about to end, insert my tears here.
Yeah.
I feel like I need some new Boom series to like fill that void. Now, nothing will ever fill the Giant Days void. This is no Giant Days, but this is a lot of fun if you just want to sit down and see what a sports comic can be. If you are into manga, there's a lot of sports comics manga.
Riley loves sports manga.
Ton of it, and I love it too. And there's not, maybe there's a ton I don't know about in the United States, but this is one of the few, and I've read a lot this year, and it's all really great. So, because it's really about the characters, and then they come together for like, sports team stuff. But anyway, it's great. So you should read this because it's fantastic. Again, if you just want to have a good time, the Avant-Guards, great character work. You will love everyone, and it's just super fun. So this is a super fun sit-down series, nothing that deep. If you like sports, maybe you'll like it even more. I don't know how that feels, but I loved it.
I love the name of it. Plus 10 points for the Avant-Guards. That is clever. Let's see. I'm just looking. There's Make Havoc. Hello to you. Hayden McGee. Hello. Smartlock. Hello. I'm going to go dark. I haven't had a chance to review it on my scary books, but I will review it here instead. This is called House of Penance, and this is it's since been reissued in a more deluxe volume. This is by Peter J. Tomasi, who is becoming one of my favorite. Let me move this over a little bit. Who's becoming one of my favorite writers. I met him at Baltimore. He was a very nice guy, and he has written, of course, Batman and Robin. He has written the book that I just put up on Instagram, Batman Detective Comics Mythology, which was really good. And he's written a lot of good Batman. He, I believe, was writing Superman, and everybody loved the run on Superman that he was writing. And he's going to be introducing the Arkham Knight into the DC universe in December, according to my Batter Days in the Batcave co-host Taylor Brown. So Peter J. Tomasi did House of Penance, and it came out in a more this is old. I got this a while ago, maybe a couple years ago, and it came out in a more deluxe version. This one's from Dark Horse. I don't know. Maybe the Dark Horse version is still from Dark Horse. This is about. Let me make sure I get her first name right. I feel like it's Mary, but it may not be. Mrs. Winchester. Yeah, I know. It's the Winchester. I went to the Winchester Mystery House growing up in San Jose, California, and it's a fun thing to go to as you're growing up. She Okay, well, we'll just call her Mrs. Winchester because I can't seem to find her first name. The art is really cool. She inherited the Winchester gun fortune, and she feels like it's caused an incredible amount of death, and she has a huge amount of guilt over it, and you can say that the guilt has driven her mad. So she gets an incredible amount of money, like something nuts, like $1,000 a day in expenses from the Winchester family fortune. This is back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. $1,000 a day, something crazy like that, which $1,000 a day today is a lot of money, but think of it back in 1900, how much that is. And she feels like she's haunted by the ghosts of all the ghosts of everybody that's been killed by a Winchester rifle. And so she feels like she needs to make up for it by building a house constantly 24/7. There's work going on 24/7 in this house, with stairs that go to nowhere, doors that open up to nowhere, doors that open up 5 stories tall, open up out into nothingness, so you could walk right out and drop 5 stories. And this is her. She's gone a little loony. And there's, of course, hundreds of men working on this project. And there's a decidedly occultish tinge to this, as everybody's provided a place to stay, but there's all kinds of demons in this book that she's constantly fighting back as that she sees. And it's really well written and really well drawn. You can feel the madness just coming out of her, and you can feel the she seems, the way it's written, she seems perfectly coherent most of the time, and then she has these moments where she's talking about, the dead coming back to life, and all of this, all of these demons that have, been the torturous dead, and the grief, and the Winchester bullets killing and everything. And so it's really well written, and it's got a little kind of quirky romance in it between her and a bounty hunter whose hands are permanently stained with blood. And so if you're interested at all in the Winchester Mystery House and how it was built, this is much more interesting than the tour they give. I can promise you that, because I went on the original Winchester Mystery House tour, and it was nowhere near as interesting as this is. This is history with a twist, and it's really well done. I highly recommend it. If you're in the mood for the deluxe edition, I would get the deluxe edition. I got this trade paperback a couple of years ago, so I would highly recommend this. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake knocks down her house, and she promptly takes all her money and starts rebuilding it. And so it's rebuilt. You can go out there and take a tour of the thing. It's remarkable, but this takes a really dry history of it and really spices it up with blood and demon and guilt and ghosts, and I loved it.
It sounds like I need that. I've thought about blind buying that library edition a few times.
Oh, it's a library edition.
Yeah.
Oh, this art would look awesome in the library edition. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because the art is really remarkable. I really dug this art. So the tour in San Jose, I forget why she picked San Jose. They were originally in the Midwest, and San Jose was just a backwater nothing back then in the 1900s, and quite frankly, it was a backwater nothing when I was growing up. It became something when Silicon Valley started to become something. But San Jose, I can't even believe it has an international airport now, because San Jose was a big fat nothing when I was growing up. I apologize to anybody that lives there now. I'm sure you have a cosmopolitan city, you have an international airport, and you have nice comic book stores. I know I visited there, but it was a big fat goose egg growing up in the 60s and 70s. So I forget. It says in the book why she chose San Jose, but the Winchester Mystery House is worth a tour. It's really cool to visit it, and then read this book, because this is a way more interesting history than what your guide will tell you.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Speaking of really
I liked
cool,
it a lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Good segue.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Oh, I like it already.
Yeah, family friendly. This is F Off Squad. I'll say it like that. How about F Off Squad? This is a book that Reed's, actually. He's been wanting me to read since he got it. So I finally read it, Reed. You're welcome.
Where do you find this book? I've never even heard of this.
You know what? I don't know. A really indie publisher, Silver Sprocket, did it. So I don't know. Jim Rugg blurbed it on the back. Maybe he found it through him. He'll have to tell me. He'll watch this later and be like, that's not right. Whatever. So I really enjoyed the art in this, and the color work. It's like lightly pink tinted.
Uh-huh.
But this is about this group of kind of, ragtag, freshly out of high school, kids pretty much, who are just trying to find their way in the world. They're skaters. They're in various bands. They've got relationship drama. It's really straight slice of life. And the way it's done is very modern and interesting, and like panel work and various ways they deal with text and like modern technology that I haven't seen a lot. I've seen a little bit throughout comics, but it was just really well done. The only thing,
cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool. I really like the art. The characters were really entertaining. But I will say the end was completely abrupt, to the point where I was like, what was that ending? And I don't think we got enough time with these characters. This is pretty thin trade.
Oh, okay.
So I could have done with more of that. I did like the characters, though. I just kind of wanted more of it. So that's my biggest complaint, is the ending was very abrupt. But I guess you could say life is abrupt, isn't it? Like, life doesn't always have an ending.
Oh, that's philosophical, man.
So deep.
Yeah, wow.
But, the biggest compliment I can give this is, if you enjoyed Ghost World,
which I did.
Which you did. It's similar kind of toning as well. These Ghost World super sarcastic characters, they kind of just hate life. I felt like that was these characters as well. So I think this is really good for fans of Ghost World.
Oh, okay.
Except, there's more like relationship drama in this. So it's different. But I think if you did enjoy Ghost World and those sort of characters, those sort of like punk characters, and they're kind of like F everybody, F Off Squad.
I love it.
I think you will like this. I read Ghost World in high school, and I very much related to it. They're very sarcastic, like me and my friends. And then I read it again in college, and I still really liked it, and I still related to it. I was freshly out of high school. For my graphic novels class, I was the only one in the whole class who liked Ghost World. So
nobody in your graphic novels. First of all, you had a graphic novels class in college.
I did.
That is so cool.
And one of our assignments was Ghost World. And that's when I got this nice deluxe edition, right? But I was the only one in the whole class. We had to write like an essay on every book we read every week. and then we would all discuss it, right? So everyone was trashing Ghost World, and I was just sitting there like, oh no. Like, I didn't say anything yet, and of course the professor called me out and was like, well, Kristen liked it, so let's see why she liked it. And I was like, oh, sad.
That is really annoying and ignorant that everybody hated it. I'm glad you liked it because it's awesome.
I know. I loved it. Everybody's like, people don't talk like that. I'm like, you weren't around people, I guess. Like, yeah, people talk like that. Like, what do you mean?
And people don't necessarily have to talk like that. It's part of the book. They talk like that in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of that in the book.
So, this isn't for everyone. And again, abrupt ending. You don't get enough like time with the characters. That is true. But I mean, like, I really enjoyed this art. So, and I do think if you liked Ghost World, then
who publishes this again?
Silver Sprocket.
Silver Sprocket.
It's again, if you want to go super indie, I think you're legit helping artists and creators when you buy something like this too. I don't even know if it's on like IST or anything.
I don't know either.
I think he directly got it from the publisher. But yeah, I think it's, it's worth. I can't show you that. Just a brief nudity. There is that.
Well, that's okay.
But yeah, I think it's good for fans of Ghost World.
Barnacle Blake. Here's a good one. I think it says something good about both of us. Picked up Nailbiter and Batman Flashpoint off your recommendation. Both very good. Okay, good. I also have Mouse Guard coming today. Yeah. Excited to start that one with daughter.
That's exciting.
Good. That is good.
Yeah, and I did learn Mouse Guard is great for all ages, and there are tons of like kid fans of that. So that's awesome.
Okay. Good. You responded to that guy that had the question. Okay, yeah. Good. That's good to know. Now some of the Mouse Guard books, I think one of them might be out of print, but I can't remember.
I think it may be back in print.
Oh, it's
when
back
I was looking that up, I think so.
Okay.
Because David Peterson, the guy who does it, he was just at a con and he had all the books. So
he did.
That made me think they were all in print.
What con was that?
I don't know. It may have been Baltimore. Was he in Baltimore?
Well, wait. How do you know he had all the books if you weren't at the con?
He posted a picture.
Oh, you follow him with your social media.
Yeah.
Okay.
I called him up. I was like, "Hey, did you have all the books?" And he's like, "Yeah, girl."
I didn't. I like supporting creators like that. I didn't know he was going to be there. I would have liked to have gone right to him and bought all the books. That's my favorite thing to do, is buying the books from the creators at a con, because the money goes right to them.
Yeah, that is actually, that's definitely the best way.
I like doing that.
It all goes right to them.
Yeah. I didn't know to look for him. I'll try and do that next year at Baltimore then.
Oh, Chris M is saying the box set is out of print. There is a Legends of Mouse Guard box set, which is after like the first 3 or 4 books. And that's like different artists and stuff doing different stories in the universe. So I guess that's out of print. But I think you can get the books. Yeah, you can. You can get them individually. Just not in a box.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Smalllock is saying IST is already sold out of the Baltimore Omni. They came out a few weeks ago. I was about to order it and they didn't have it. Yeah, that thing's been going in and out of print.
I think that's a Dark Horse thing, because I know Berserk Volume 3 was out the day it came out. Like, it was out of stock there. So I don't know if it's at their print runs or what.
Yeah, they seem to do that with their first print runs. There is no way they will let Baltimore stay out of print. They will keep that in print. It may take them a couple months to get it back in print, but there's no way they would let that go out of print and stay out of print. So I would just be patient and wait for it to come back into print. It will come back into print. I will guarantee you that. They will Dark Horse would not let that thing go out. Amazon hasn't gotten it yet, so I know they're printing more. Yeah, that's cool. I would just wait and get it from Amazon, or wait even a little bit longer and get it from IST when they print more. Or do like I'm doing, and I'm just hanging on to my standard hardcovers. I'm not getting the omnibus.
Good for you.
Yeah. I sometimes I upgrade, sometimes I don't. I upgrade if it's a paperback and then Black Hammer comes in a library edition, that's an upgrade.
You have to.
Yeah, you gotta. Here's one for us.
Oh no, I wonder why it's always in print.
Yeah. Good one, Art. Let's see. Well, I just have two more. I have two more books, but I have two more series, but three more books to talk about. And I will talk about a book that shouldn't work. You've already pledged your love to it. Every Omnibro has pledged their love to it. I was the only Omnibro not to read this book. I have to admit, I almost didn't read it because it sounds silly. But
already know what this is.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because you said so much great about it. They said so much great about it. What is it?
Murder Falcon.
Murder Falcon.
Yeah.
This sounds ridiculous. It
Of
should
course.
not work. I don't know. The premise is ridiculous, but this is awesome. I loved everything about this book, and if I'm not feeling 100% today because of my stomach, I was going to put on Motorhead today. I finished it yesterday. I wanted to blast Motorhead, but I just wasn't feeling that good today. I really wanted to blast Motorhead. This got me in the mood for just cranking the metal music. This is by Daniel Warren Johnson, and the art, first of all, it sort of creeps up on you how good it is. But
it's
the
amazing.
art is remarkably good. It is really great, and I don't know if everybody knows about this yet or not, or if I'm just repeating what everybody's already said. But there's a rip in reality, and you've got this heavy metal guitarist who's been chosen by a creature that comes through this rip in reality, the Murder Falcon. He is a big falcon. He's exactly what he sounds like. He's a giant falcon with a metal arm, and he comes from a different dimension, and he's fueled by the metal music that the blonde guy plays with this special magical guitar that's amplified. So what the problem is that from this other dimension, this I don't know, I'd hate to say bad guy because that's such a cliche, but he's the main bad guy. But the Murder Falcon's name is Murph, and Jake is the blonde-haired metal guitarist who fuels Murph's amazing powers to battle the monsters that are sent from this rift by the head bad guy who wants to take over Earth. Jake has a band that broke up because Jake got cancer and broke up with his wife, and his life was terrible. And he was an awesome metal guitarist, but he couldn't handle. Here's a picture of the bad guy, Magnum Chaos. And he's the one that wants to take over Earth with his monsters. And the only thing standing between the takeover of Earth by these monsters is Murph, the Murder Falcon, and Bruticus. Each one of these metal guys in the band gets a special like the drum kit is has jet packs on it, so it flies around, and they each get a special animal type thing like Murph, the Murder Falcon, to battle these monsters that get sent from the rift. And the power, and of course they've got a van. So the whole book is going through personal turmoil, learning how to overcome personal issues, and shredding heavy metal music to defeat the bad guy and his monsters. And it's actually deeper than that, because Jake has gone through a lot. He broke up with his wife. He was battling cancer, which you find out. And actually, I probably shouldn't have given that away because it's a major part of the book when you find out that it's actually Jake that was going through the chemotherapy. Because I thought it was his wife until you find out it was Jake. And everybody's going through their own personal traumas, and it's actually fairly deep when you get around the fact that Murder Falcon's a beer chugging falcon with a metal arm that destroys the bad guys. I think that this is the Omni Bros Book of the Year. I'm pretty sure they're going to vote it Book of the Year. This is my runner-up to Book of the Year. My next book that I'm going to present is my Book of the Year. But this is 100% absolute comic book fun with great art, great coloring, tons of really well-written dialogue. It is everything you want in a comic book. I know it sounds ridiculous. It shouldn't work. What the heck are we talking about here? A metal-fueled murder falcon coming from another dimension? It somehow shouldn't work, but it works like amazing. And I may even go against my sworn vow to never write a review on Goodreads. I may write a review on Goodreads instead of just giving it 5 stars. I may go ahead and write a review because I like it so much. I want everyone to read Murder Falcon. This thing is awesome. It's put out by Image, and it is amazingly amazing. And it is a good value. It's only like $20, and it's thick. It's 8 issues. And this guy is really, I mean, look at Murder Falcon on the cover. He's got that huge metal thwacking arm, and there's all kinds of awesome references in this. There's a reference to Lemmy from Motorhead. There's an awesome reference to Ronnie James Dio at the end. And this is for anybody with a passing reference, passing knowledge to metal music or just music in general. This thing is fun. I just ate it up with a spoon, and it is definitely going to be the Omni Bros Book of the Year. I think it's going to be unanimous. I don't know. Omar may want Plutona. I don't know.
Kick him off the show.
Get rid of that guy.
Get rid of
him. Yeah, best image in comics is the aircraft carrier of Amps. That's right, Christem. And the Navy or the Air Force or whoever it is has an aircraft carrier of Amps, where the whole thing is just amplifying Bruticus's music just so they can, blast out the music the most so they can battle the monsters. That is a good point, Christem. But this is actually remarkably great. It is, and it's really human. It's got a superhuman touch with Jake. You learn why he's depressed, why everything is not good, why he's not happy. He's a cancer survivor and everything else, and I get it. I was surprised at that, but it's a very human touch type book. And so Daniel Warren Johnson really deserves all the kudos he gets, because this is it's really remarkable.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm trying to choose my words carefully because I don't want to spoil anything. My favorite scene is the one with the hair.
Yeah,
talking about? Yeah,
I do. Yeah, that's cool.
That was an amazing moment. All of those big wide shots really showed you how beautiful and amazing his art is.
Yeah.
It's really incredible. And I will say, again, trying to be careful, I don't want to ruin it, but if it were just crazy music and crazy monsters and whatever, if that were really the point of the story, I wouldn't have liked it.
No, you're right.
But that's not at all. And I would love to go into the ending with you because, again, I'm trying to be so careful. I don't want to ruin it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's a lot to it. The ending is, the ending is super deep and super emotional and super heartfelt. It is, it's an amazing journey, this book. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Smotlock, my book of the year is not Immortal Hulk, but Immortal Hulk is great. It is, I read Immortal Hulk. It covered issues 1 through 10, and it's good enough that I'm not going to wait for the next hardcover. I'm going to read what I can on Marvel Unlimited, which is like 11 through 16, and it's so good. I'm going to read everything I can on Marvel Unlimited because that was a cliffhanger that 10 ended on, and so I want to continue it. Immortal Hulk's awesome. I really loved it. And Barnacle Blake is asking, how is Harrow County? Have you read Harrow County, OmniCat?
You know, I have the first library, but I have not picked it up yet. I meant to this month, but then I worked a lot, so.
Oh, that work excuse.
Yeah, that old one.
Harrow County is excellent. I loved it. I read it last year in paperback for my October read-through, scary read-through. I found it to be fantastic. I'm still debating whether I should upgrade from trade paperback to these beautiful library editions that have like velvet covers or whatever they are.
I was going to say you should just to rub it on your face. It's 100% worth it.
Yeah, it's got like these velvet covers, but I 100% stand by saying that Harrow County is one of the great scary books that is super well written and really cool art. I love Harrow County. Art Walker, let me put this question up because he's asking it of both of us. No. Are either of you guys reading the new Criminal issues? I am not. I'm getting, well, I guess I sort of am because I'm getting the little hardcovers of My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies, and then the other one, the comic book one.
Bad Weekend. I did read Bad
Weekend. Yeah. My Heroes Have Always Been Junkies was great too. So I guess if you count those, then I am reading the new Criminal issues. But other than that, I'm not reading them. I don't know what else is out there. I would love to see Ed Brubaker at a con. I would stand in line for him. Brian K. Vaughan had about an hour and a half wait. Omar and his wife waited in that line, and same with Garth Ennis, and I just didn't have it in me to wait that long.
It's not easy.
No, Jeff Lemire had I got fortunate and had only a 5-minute wait in his line because he just came back from a panel that I think he and Matt Kint were on. He and Matt Kint were right next to each other. Matt Kint didn't have any kind of line, and he was really cool. He drew me some really cool cartoons in my book that I took.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's where I met up with Patrick Baranski, who is a great con buddy. You need to have somebody who's a good conversationalist that'll yap with you while you're waiting in line.
Make the time go by, yeah.
Yeah. Art Walker, I don't think he's going to collect them all, just selected few, so I would highly advise trying them. Okay. And I agree with this by Smotlock. Brubaker and Phillips are the best team in comics who somehow keep getting better. I personally would not argue with that statement.
They're
That's just
great.
me. Yeah,
They
I
are
agree
great.
with them. Yeah, I totally agree with them.
Speaking of great.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, this has been sitting on my shelf for quite a long time. I finally read it. It was a gift from Reed, who I think got it just based on the cover. This is called Bodie Troll.
I think I've heard of this.
Boom put it out. It's like a nice chunky trade. This is coming back next year, so there will be more stories from this universe. Scotty Young blurbed it on the cover, which makes total sense because this is some amazing cartooning. That's the best way to describe it. I adore the art in this. It was such a fun universe. It's about a troll named Bodie. It's called Bodie Troll, guys.
Okay.
He is a runt. He's like a little troll who like never fully grew. Come on, camera. There we go.
There we go.
So there he is. He's like a little cute guy. Of course, people call him cute. He gets very mad because he doesn't want to be cute. He wants to be like a big, vicious, gross, ugly troll, which is how the trolls in these universe look. But he's not like them. He kind of got abandoned when he was a baby and taken in by this, like, she's kind of like a fairy godmother-ish, except she's not a godmother. She's just a fairy, I guess. And then this woman who's like his best friend, and he lives with them. And, you know, the fairy lady gets mad at him all the time. And it's just
she's not the fairy godmother? She's just the best friend?
Yeah, just the best friend.
Okay.
But they all live together.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just like a very unique universe, kind of like a Renaissance-y time. He gets into all sorts of shenanigans. Every chapter, which I assume were issues, like it goes into like different things. Again, it's just such a like fun, all ages. The world is so unique. And again, this is great for all ages. Like the language is very tame. There's a whole story about like this baby that falls from the sky, and he has to like take care of it, and all it does is like poop and cause problems. Like every time it like poops its diaper, like things fall from the sky. Like it's crazy. It's such a quirky universe, and I just left every chapter like laughing and having a great time. And the characters, you will just like fall in love with everyone and their personalities, and you'll really love Bodie, and you'll feel for him. And again, he just doesn't want to be called cute. He wants to be like a vicious troll. And you meet like all these crazy cast of characters, and it really reminded me of like, it wasn't on the level of Bone and like the big adventure of Bone, but you know, when you read Bone, you fall in love with all of those characters. You're blown away by the cartooning. I felt similar in that aspect. And it's such a different, unique world that I was just kind of like, oh, this guy's created a whole universe I just want to live in, and I want to keep going. And again, thankfully, they've announced they're going to bring it back next year. And there will be more stories. So if you want to get this and you enjoy the collection, it is just such a fun, unique world. And I don't know what else to say about it other than you're going to have a really good time. And this art, and look at this, it's just so good. I loved it.
Who's the creator? Who are the creators?
It's, Jay Foskett, who I'd never heard of before. I guess he did some Rocket and Groot, it says on the back here.
And who's the publisher?
Boom.
Oh, Boom.
Oh, David Peterson also blurbed it, who did Mouse Guard. So he's getting high praise from a lot of people I like. But yeah, this is Bodie Troll. Pick it up if you want some good fun. If you have kids, I think this is great for kids too. But you're going to have a good time.
Oh, I definitely want to get that.
I think you will like it.
I got, based on your recommendation, Nancy and Cats of the Louvre.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to read more manga.
I know.
Oh.
I came in and I said, what's wrong with this book? It's all backwards. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's that book from Kristen. Yeah.
Oh, I think you're going to enjoy that one too, though.
Oh, yeah. I definitely am going to. Yeah. I got those in just a few days ago. I don't know where they are. I think I already stuck them on my delusional book pile where it's
That never read pile. I get you.
Yeah, the one that I think I'm going to read, but I don't know when I think I'm going to read it. Okay, Bodie Troll goes on to the get list, but I already made a huge buy on IST's 3% off sale. I waited until Friday. I knew they were going to have a sale. I just knew it, so I waited until Friday.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Another good idea. Ha, see, I did it myself. Thank you. This is my book of the year. It's 2 books.
You're already calling it, huh?
I am. Well, we're near the end of October, so if something shows up between now and the end of the year, now there could be something in that delusional read pile that I crack into because there's still some time, but it is 2 books in the series. And the first one came from my friend Kyle, and then I bought volume 2 myself. That is Garth Ennis's A Walk Through Hell. It had been a while since I read A Walk Through Hell, so I had to read volume 1 again. It is Garth Ennis, and I'm going to show you the name because it's going to be too hard for me to even try and pronounce. There's the artist, Goran, and then it's got a special little thing over the Z. I don't even know what that means. So it means something, but he's a great artist. We can start with that. The art is great. I think they've done Punisher stuff together. No, he's done Why the Last Man and Hellblazer stuff. So there's 2 stories going on along here that meet together. And I don't even know if I can explain it properly because it's really, really remarkable. The first story that we deal with is let's see what the first story is. There's 2 stories that happen, and that is that there's a pedophile that is going around and recruiting other pedophiles to help him kidnap children. And then afterwards, the recruited pedophiles kill themselves. And the FBI is on the case. These are the 2 FBI agents who are on the case, chasing them, trying to prevent another child from being kidnapped. So they're working feverishly trying to get it to happen. In the meantime, they are called to. They eventually get the guy who's doing this. Somehow he has some power over these recruited pedophiles. I'm not sure what it is, and I'm not sure it ever gets explained properly to get them to kill themselves. One of them comes in on their own to confess and give them the name of the guy who's been recruiting them, and then kills himself right there in the station. But they bring the guy in, but they don't have enough to lock him up. So actually that brings in a 3rd arc on what they do to this particular guy. So then they're summoned to this storage unit in LA where they wake up these 2 guys, this guy and woman, and they have no pulse. They walk into the unit, they wake up, and they have no pulse. And this is their walk through hell. They start walking, they can't find out where they are. They find they had sent in other police, a SWAT team in there, The SWAT team came out, went into their van, and immediately killed each other. So the police won't help them. They won't send in anybody else into this storage unit. Then book 2 happens, where they also discovered some FBI agents who already had gone in there. I won't tell you what happens with those guys because that'll ruin the surprise. But so they're walking around in this storage unit, which seems endless. And I can't really tell you too much about what happens in volume 2 because that would really ruin any kind of surprise, because book 2 is all a big reveal of what happened in book 1 and constantly reveals what's going on in this storeroom and where they are and what's happening and what the motivation is behind this child molester guy and what he is and what he is and what he's been sent to do and what his purpose is on Earth and things like that. And it has ties that go back to their boss at the FBI, and it gets even biblical and it gets radical. It is unbelievably thrilling. It gets it pulls you into this story, and this book is a thrilling, complex horror book that I am haunted by still. I couldn't put it down. I just was sort of flipping through it yesterday, and like an hour later, my heart was pounding because I was reading it so fast, and I cannot recommend this enough. This is a book I also will review on Goodreads after I give it 6 stars if it was possible. I'll put that in my review. But this is my book of the year. The horror, mystery, what Garth Ennis does with this book is remarkable. I cannot give it enough stars. It is unbelievable what he's written here. What the 2 FBI agents go through is intense. And what this child molester actually turns out to be is frightening. I can't go any further than that or else it'll spoil it. It is just amazing what Garth Ennis has done. This is a big statement. I think this is the best thing he's ever written. And he's written a lot of great things, but this is incredible. That is my book of the year.
You definitely made me want to read that.
Whoop. I brought myself back.
That's how strongly you felt.
Yeah. This is my book of the year.
For dramatic effect.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was really amazing. And I just can't say very much about book 2 because it's all a big reveal. It all the answers come out in book 2 to all the questions that get asked in book 1. And it's, yeah, I know Preacher and Hitman are amazing. I've read Hitman like 6 times. I've read, Preacher 3 times. I've read his Punisher. I mean, I've read everything. I don't know. There's something about this book that just sticks out more than anything else. Just the fact that he thought of it is remarkable to me. There's only one thing in it that I thought was a mistake that he shouldn't have shown. They shouldn't have shown something. I think it would have been best left a mystery. But I don't know. That's my only criticism, is they shouldn't have shown something, but that's tiny compared to everything else.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will definitely be reading that.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of reads.
Speaking of reads.
You guys, I read a DC book.
Oh.
So if you've watched this for a bit, you'll probably know I was raised on Marvel. But I love Marvel. I prefer Marvel, but I'm open to DC books. I just haven't read a lot. And I've only read one other Harley Quinn book. This is my second.
Oh.
And that is Harley Quinn Breaking Glass.
Cool. I've been wanting to hear about this.
Mariko Tamaki wrote it, who I adore. My most recent read from her was Laura Jean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, which I think I reviewed on the show, and it was fantastic. So this is part of the DC Inc. line, which is a line of young adult, like, standalone graphic novels. So this universe is not the regular universe. And again, I've only read one other Harley Quinn book. It was Paul Dini's Mad Love, of course. And someone mentioned him in the chat. The guy who does the art for Flintstones did this art, and it is beautiful. The color work is amazing, and I really love this story. So Harley is in high school. That is Ivy. So Poison Ivy, but she's just Ivy. So she meets up with Ivy in school, and they become like really good BFFs. And Harley is sort of, her mom like goes to work on a cruise ship and is like, hey, go visit your grandma. So she goes to Gotham to visit her grandma, and of course she had died. And of course,
wait, her grandma had died?
Her grandma had died. So when she goes into the apartment her grandma was supposed to live in, she meets this guy who lives there now. Let me see if I can find him. Maybe. Oh, come on. There he is. He goes by Mama. So he is a big, wonderful drag queen. And his good friends call him Mama. So, and I love him. He's such a fun character. So he kind of takes her in. That
art is great.
Yeah, and the color like changes depending on like where they are and like what's happening. The art is just gorgeous. I really loved it. And I love how they did the colors. So she kind of gets roped into this world of like drag queens, and this drag queen like takes her under his wing, and she's dealing with school stuff and trying to figure out how to live a normal life. You do get flashbacks of when she was younger and kind of a delinquent. Is that the best way to put it? And so what happens is this big, they're called Millennium Developments. This big coffee corporation, rich kid place tries to take over their neighborhood. And they're like, oh, we're going to buy all of you out and you have to leave. So that ends up being the big bad of the whole book. And so she starts being like, how can I save this neighborhood and everyone who took me in, who I love now? And so, people are like throwing bricks through the place and like, hey, go away to like this gay bar that like all of her best friends now, like, work in. And she's got to figure out like how to save that place. And she's dealing with stupid bullies at school. And she's walking around one night and runs into a guy. Let's see. Who has a crazy mask on.
Uh-oh.
So that's what the Joker looks like in here.
Ah.
And he kind of plays with her head, of course, and ropes her into things. And I won't spoil what happens, but she, ends up cutting up an outfit, and she gets kind of a typical Harley Quinn outfit and tries to save the day because this corporation is trying to take over this whole neighborhood with Ivy and everyone else she loves, and she needs to stop it because that's now her home too. So she and it's called Breaking Glass because she ends up breaking a lot of glass with her bat. And yeah, that's pretty much the whole story without like spoiling everything. I love the twist in it and the way it ended up playing out. I will say at the end though, I was kind of left with, oh, are they gonna return to this universe? I haven't heard anything about that, but it does end on not a cliffhanger, but you're kind of like, oh, what happened though? Like what happens, but I want to know more. So I did end up loving these characters. I loved the way Ivy was portrayed. She was fantastic. Harley was what I know of Harley, pretty typical, but in a different universe and younger. And I just really love the way they did this. And Mariko Tamaki, she's fantastic at writing. So yeah, I don't know how you would feel if you've already loved Harley Quinn, because I haven't had much experience with her, but I love this.
That's awesome. Larry says all 4 of the DC Inc. volumes have been excellent, but the Harley was the best.
The only other one I've read is A Catwoman's Tale, which I hated. So,
Oh.
I had a lot of problems with how they portrayed problematic things throughout it. They had a lot of, like, they waited till the end to give you, like, suicide hotline numbers and, like, all these other numbers for things that happen in the book and things you can get help with, instead of at the beginning being like, hey, guess what? Here's a lot of things happening and here's some trigger warnings and you're going to be upset most of the time.
Oh.
So I hated that. That made me mad.
Oh.
And
okay.
a kitten died in it. I'll never forget it.
Oh, I think I remember you saying that. That's why I didn't get it, because you said that.
I can deal with a lot of stuff. I think you're pretty similar with this aspect. I cannot deal with certain animal abuses. And I don't know how I kept going after that. It was really rough and terrible and didn't need to happen that way. Yeah. No. I actually read another book that I'm not reviewing because they killed an animal in it in a terrible way. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was liking it until then. So that's sad. That
is awful.
Was that your last book? Because I have another one.
Yeah. Here's a question for me, though. Say your hey, OmniDog, say your top 5 omnibuses from your mind really fast without thinking too much.
Go.
Okay. Authority and Planetary, and Uncanny X-Force, and what's that one by Grant Morrison? New X-Men. Is that 4? And Gotham Central. There it is. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, that was my last book, because I had to reread Walk Through Hell 1 to get to Walk Through Hell 2, and so.
Well, I'll show you my last one then, because it was the best thing I've read this month, for sure.
This month, okay.
This month, and it's probably in the top 10 of the year, for sure. And you already know about it. You don't know that I read it, but it is They Called Us Enemy.
Oh, yeah, good.
By George Takei. So everyone probably already heard of this book and knows about it, but it was amazing, as you can expect. Also, I love the artist, Harmony Becker. I have to shout her out because she did such an amazing job, like, capturing everything throughout this. So if you don't know about it, George Takei and his family lived in an internment camp during World War II as one of the, like, 120,000 Japanese Americans who were locked up, pretty much. He spent 4 years behind barbed wire with his family. They were taken, like, I think they were taken to 2 or 3 places. It started off where they just brought them to, like, horse stalls, and they had to live there for a little bit until they got the camps ready, and that was extra terrible. So it's a horrible time throughout U.S. history that I feel like a lot of Americans still don't know about. So yeah. This really, like, opens your eyes to the horrific things that Japanese Americans had to go through back then. So I think every American should read this. I mean, everyone should read this in general, but it's something that, like, you know, this, especially a first-hand encounter, you're not going to find in your history books. Mm-hmm. So often, you know, American history books anyway like to brush away the bad stuff we did, but this was a bad thing we did, and he really shows, like, the reality of the situation. And back then, like, he has some scary memories, but he was such a little kid that a lot of it was happy memories for him. And he makes a point to say that, like, a lot of it really wasn't, of course, but he was still able to, like, his parents were so good at trying to shelter him from the reality of the situation. But he still, like, does a really great job of, like, showing everything that happened and how it was for his parents especially. And he just goes through everything, and it was so moving, and some of it's so brutal, and just an amazing story. And you do get a little insight, you know, if you're a big Trekkie, into like when he got that job and how that was for him after dealing with all of this, and especially showing such a positive character of Asian descent on TV, and like he could portray that, and how, you know, that kind of changed television in a lot of ways. So he kind of goes into that a little bit at the end, and all the amazing work he did after all of this. So he does go into a little bit of that. But anyway, it's really, really amazing. And I recommend everyone read this, because if you're like me, you'll be blown away and you'll tear up a lot. Like, it was very emotional. And again, the art like really captures everything that happened really, really well. And if you know a little to nothing about it, this really helps teach you what happened, what laws were in effect, what presidents did what in regards to the situation. And yeah, it was beautiful and amazing, and everyone should read those.
Totally agree. I got to get that myself.
You're going to love it. And you love Star Trek, right?
I do love Star Trek. Did you know Star Trek had featured TV's first interracial kiss? Yeah.
And he mentions meeting her like before he even had that job, which I didn't know. But I'm also not like, yeah. I forgot it was like some play he did. He met her.
Oh.
That was interesting. That's great.
That is cool. I got to get that book.
You're going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of his. Okay. So let's see. Is it your turn or my turn to put up the thumbnail? I forgot.
Your turn, because I had the...
oh, you had the badass picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone called it what, badass. That's funny. Willow sitting on books.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you to the chat for chatting. I appreciate it. And thank you to all the viewers who are going to be viewing this or are viewing it now. And on behalf of OmniCat, this is OmniDog saying peace and love, peace and love. Thank you very much, everybody. Please hit the like button if you can. It does something good for our algorithm or something. Something, yeah. So thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. You guys are great. Thanks.
Thank you.